But D-end-wise, we have a lot of guys waiting in the wings. I think Steve Miller, once he gets that consistency down, is going to be really dangerous for us. And same with Rashad. Rashad is going to come out of nowhere, I think, and make an impression. Taekwon's made an impression, but he's still young, and you still got to find out what he can do when it's game time. But I'm excited to see what he's about.
Was it tough to see Tommy struggle through injuries last year, knowing how good he can be?
Yeah, that really sucked because, I mean, he would just get one thing after another: ankle, foot, knee, and other ankle, other foot, and you can't play with all that stuff. He was hobbling around, so it's great to see him getting better and getting stronger, and actually being able to play next to him, because I know in the summer when me and him were playing next to each other, it was a ton of fun, and it's just the whole just in the trenches with someone else. I think it's going to be fun to see what he can do this year.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
For just the regular football fan, last year's Big Ten championship game was just an incredible game to watch with the ebbs and flows and everything. But obviously, for the Buckeyes, it's something you guys have had to live with. How have you guys used that to motivate you? And I mean, you probably thought about that game every day since then.
Yeah. With that game, there's so many different things that went into why we lost or why they won. But the biggest thing is we have to understand we got to finish. So we lost that game in the fourth quarter. In the first half, I think they had 17 rushing yards on 15 rushing yards on 17 attempts. And then they ended the game with like 133 rushing yards. Something like that. I don't know. Fact is, they had a ton of yards in the second half. And we have to be able to, at the end of the season, finish the game, finish the season off right, and that's what we're really focused on now.
Is there anybody in the NFL that you like watching, try to model your game after?
I think so. The coaches compare me to Ray McDonald, who they used to coach at Florida. Coach Mick talks about him a lot, and so does Coach Meyer. I noticed Geno Atkins. I kind of want to be like him because he's a shorter guy, but he's not too heavy. Some 305, 310, but he can move, and so that's what I think I can play like, and that's what I think I can be. Obviously, everyone wants to be in Ndamukong Suh because I think he plays with the right kind of attitude. He gets fined a lot, but I think you need to be a nasty guy to play on the D-line.
You never got any fines or any trouble like that?
No, I don't.
So.
I don't get any fines. I try not to cheap shot.
Right.
Is this for me?
No, I don't know who that is.
Oh, okay, so nice.
Last year there were some obvious weaknesses on the defense. We've heard this weekend that the linebackers might be the most improved. What do you think has improved? What have they done to improve? What are we going to see this year that's will impress us in the linebackers?
I think they're a lot more together. I don't think there are any followers on the linebacker crew. I think every one of them is a leader in their unit, and they want to be leaders on the defense. And that's hard to get, is an entire unit of leaders. So, like, even the young guys. So with the whole linebacker crew, you got guys where we're really having a problem because you can't not play these people. But we have like 6 of them on the linebackers, and you can't play 6 linebackers. So that's a good problem to have. With them, I'd say that's just, they're better friends. They hang out all the time. They're a little crazy in the head. They're what you expect linebackers to be, and they just go. They don't stop. They don't get tired. Well, they do get tired, but when they get tired, they just keep going. And then we throw more linebackers in there, and they just go and hit. And they're trying to take people's heads off. And that's what excites me so much.
Our standout linebackers graduated last year. Do you think there's any individual in the linebacker for this year that by the end of the year would have thought of as a standout, or is it going to be more of an ensemble?
Well, it'll be an ensemble because I think they're all going to be standouts. So, and that sounds like, oh, I'm just trying to hype up my teammates, but the more you watch practice and workouts, the more you'd understand that Curtis Grant has come on as a leader, not just on the linebackers, but he's leading O-linemen and taking them under his wing and stuff. And then Josh Perry's becoming a leader of the linebackers, and he's working his butt off and getting big. And Darren Lee is coming out of nowhere, and he's been a force in throughout spring and summer. Chris Worley, Devin Bogard, Raekwon McMillan, all these guys, Joe Berger and Craig Fada, they're coming along. These guys are just coming out of nowhere and just really, really stepping up. And I mean, we have so much depth now. Guys that you were like, okay, well, they're just cerebral. They don't have the physical ability to play. Somehow got the physical ability. Guys who were like, well, they've got the physical ability, but they can't get their heads around the game. Got their heads around the game. So it's just really impressive to see them all work together and to make each other better.
Rutgers fans that are coming out to Columbus for the first time this year and tell them what to expect?
Expect a lot of red. Expect to not be able to hear anything. Expect some rowdy fans, and just expect a little bit of disappointment. Thank you.
Michael, is there anything we haven't asked you the last 2 days?
No.
Is there any question you want to be asked?
No, I think
We covered.
you guys have covered it a couple times.
What's the favorite question so far? Stand out?
I don't know. I love answering the questions about the linebackers and the young D linemen because
Talking about your teammates, you mean?
yeah, because I get to watch them like growing, and when you see the young guys who you're like, oh well, I don't know how they're going to pan out, and then they get better and more mature. I think that's just a really exciting feeling to see your teammates just grow around you.
Well, they're not here, so you three can boost them a little bit, talk
Yeah.
about them a little bit. So
That's what I'm trying to do is give people an idea of what we have in the wings. And everyone asks about like, well, the safeties and corners have been weak last year, and the linebackers were weak last year. And I can't stress enough that those guys have made such an improvement, and the D line's been coming up with them. So it's a whole different defense than last year.
it's kind of an honor just to come here, right? I mean,
It
it's a
is.
lot of work coming here and talking for 2 days.
Especially since I'm the only defensive player here, it's an honor to feel that I get to represent the Silver Bullets. And Coach Fickle texted me, and he talked about that before I left. Just that they wanted me to represent the Silver Bullets and be the voice. So I'm trying to do that and let people know that the Silver Bullets are one unit and we're very together this
That's
year.
the nickname for the whole defense?
Yeah, that's the Ohio State
is that a-
defense.
is
That's
that
as long as I can ever remember. It's been the Silver Bullets.
Okay, I got a new question for you. What's your earliest football memory?
My earliest what?
Football memory.
My earliest football memory was I started in 6th grade, and I remember it was the first day of hitting. I'd never hit before, and I was a linebacker. And we did like the hitting drill that the kids do, which is extremely dangerous, but you just line up like 10 yards away and run into each other. And I just kept cracking kids. My dad had to pull me out because he said I couldn't hurt. I'm not allowed to hurt anybody else. So that was my earliest memory of 6th grade football. Was
You're
just
already a big kid.
Oh yeah, I was 132 pounds because you had to be 130 to carry the ball. So I wasn't allowed to carry the ball. But I loved linebacker, and then I got fat the next year, so no more
Is that
linebacker.
sort of a little late for the kids? Some kids start earlier than that.
Yeah, I was playing basketball though, and then I stopped playing basketball because my knees were hurting and stuff.
Did you want to play before that, or is that your parents called?
No, I did. My mom didn't want me to play. I think it's a good idea though, because some kids get burnt out by the time they get to high school, and I still have a lot of love for
Did
this
you feel
sport.
like you were behind it all when you started in 6th grade? Did you catch up fast?
I'm a pretty quick learner. Football in 6th grade isn't too complex. You run and just drop people.
Yeah.
So it was fun.
Did you get to play offense at all? Ever?
Not in 6th grade. 7th grade, I was O-line and D-line.
Okay.
And then 8th grade, ever since then, I've been O-line and D-line.
Never got to carry the ball though, or catch a pass, or throw a pass.
Nothing.
That's okay.
All because of that 6th grade 2 pounds over. You know.
Think about dropping that?
You know, I didn't even weigh myself before that. I thought I could have been a quarterback. You know, you never know.
Yeah,
So
you gotta start talking to Urban. Get that chance this year.
You're talking about the young guys that you like to talk about. We didn't see Donovan Munger at all last year. He had a really good spring. We saw Michael Hill early, and he looked good. What should we expect from those two guys this year?
Michael Hill's made a lot of improvements. If you had watched him in drills last year, around this time versus drills now, the guy's flying through the bags. He's doing a lot better with his hands. His pad level's a lot better, and his conditioning is a lot better. So he's just night and day different from last year. He still has some work to do to be able to compete against the Michigan States and the team up north and the Penn States, and that's just the truth of the matter. But we have a lot of time until then. You got another camp. You got games before that where he can get more rotation and get a couple plays and feel what it's like to be in the big time. Donovan has improved a lot. Obviously, he didn't even practice last year, so he's got a different kind of hunger to him. but he's improved a lot. He's got a lot of natural ability, good footwork, very explosive. Reminds me a lot of Hank. His biggest thing is he's going to have to get used to the pressure. So when he runs out of the tunnel with 110,000 people and it's nighttime and the lights are on and you got to go get a sack, Donovan's got to be ready for that. So we'll prepare him for that in camp. We'll prepare him for that in the first couple games. But that's just being a young guy. That's part of being a young redshirt freshman.
How difficult is it to prepare for that? First time out there in the big environment.
You're not going to prepare for it. Some guys are better about it than others. With me, I thought I was going to be super nervous with my first game. I remember that, just walking up to the shoe with our suits on. I was terrified, and for whatever reason, as soon as I ran out of the shoe with my jersey on, saw the fans, I just wasn't nervous anymore. But other guys, it's the exact opposite. So it just comes from familiarity. So the more games he plays in the shoe, the easier it'll be. And he's a D1 athlete, so he's going to thrive under the pressure.
The Navy game, how concerned are you about that? When does the concern start? Because that's a completely different animal than anything else you guys have faced this year, as a defensive lineman especially.
I don't think it's concern. We've been preparing for them not since spring, but since the beginning of summer. So we know what kind of blocks they do. We know what kind of offense they run, and we're going to be prepared for it. But it's about understanding. Probably need to wear our knee braces. We're not trying to lose anybody in the first game of the season. And stuff like that, where it's just we need to be all on the same page, or somehow a ball's going to pop through and squeak 70 yards.
Is there more pressure playing Navy because everybody has to be their assignment specific? You can't freelance at all.
I mean,
is there more pressure?
I'd say usually it would be more pressure, but I feel like with the guys we have, we don't have any more of those freelancers. We don't have any more of those guys who are just going to go do their own thing and screw the whole defense. So since we have guys who understand what their job is and they're not going to go just off to make a play, it shouldn't be that much of a problem.
Is that a product of your defense being simpler on the back seven now?
That, and it's a product of guys really buying into the whole team first, and we're one defense, and do your job, and you're going to have 10 hats running to the ball with you. So
How's it been working with Larry Johnson?
It's been great. Guys really trust him. Guys know he cares about him, and I hope that he knows that we trust him. So I just think he's a class act guy who knows what he's doing, and we have been able to see each other grow and see all of our D linemen get faster and quicker and have better technique. So that makes guys trust him even more when you're finally already seeing the product and we haven't even played a game.
How's he helped your game?
He's made me a lot quicker. My footwork's a lot better. I'm a lot more relentless than I was last year, which I think was a problem. I think when you watch the tape, people are like, well, that was a negative on my sheet. But just general techniques, he's helped me a lot. He's helped me grow as a leader and be more a leader on this defensive line, and understand that the guys do look up to me and that I'm trying to be there for them.
I want to ask you a question about D recruiting. These guys on signing day sign. Everyone, they're all coaches that we need you to get here, sign. From that moment on, you go to the bottom of the total. What's that process like, and how important is it to accept it and to deal with it?
It's important to not go in thinking you're going to be the top dog and thinking that you've already earned the respect from everybody because of what you've done in high school. And those are the guys that really struggle, is the guys that are like, well, I'm a 5-star and I was better. You were a 3-star, so you don't know what you're doing. Like, this guy's been here for 3 years. He knows what he's doing more than you do. But the guys that come in that are 5-stars, that are just trying to learn and trying to get better and get bigger, those are the guys that really thrive. And the 3-stars and 4-stars that have that same mentality. So it's the expectation level. So when you sign on that line and expect that you've already made it, that's where guys start hitting a really hard wall.
And I'm asking this because I think you're a mature guy who understands these things, but how easy is it for a high school kid when they hear them, that they get tons of letters, tons of text, everything, to get that sense of entitlement? And how big a factor can that be for a guy coming in and all of a sudden he is now starting at the bottom?
I mean, so for a year and a half before you even graduate, you're getting your back rubbed by everybody who's got anything to do with a football program. So I can understand how if you don't have the right people around you or people who have been around that situation, how you can get a big head and think that, you know what, maybe I am a really big deal like everybody's telling me. I think I was very fortunate to be at a high school where there has been a lot of college recruiting. So my coach can be like, listen, these guys are coming in, they're going to tell you a bunch of stuff. It's not going to be like that when you get there. And my parents keep me grounded. Like, when I was getting recruited, they're like, I didn't even know you were that good. And I'm like, thanks, Mom and Dad. But it's just, if you're around people who haven't been around that process, they're like, you know what, you are the best. You just had 6 coaches come to your school, and you're the biggest deal, and they start treating you different, and then that's when you start believing it yourself.
You see guys at Ohio State or anywhere but in Ohio State come in with that entitlement, and then they're shocked when, oh my God, it's the bottom.
Honestly, I haven't seen any this year. The freshmen that have come in this year have been super humble and just hard workers. But you do see that every now and then, as 1 or 2 guys will come in and just think there's something special. And it's like, we've seen 5-star recruits before. We've seen great athletes before. Like, this is Ohio State. We're a big-time program. Pretty much everyone around you has been like where you were, has been recruited like you were. You're not something special. And I think that's hard for guys to understand, because coming from their schools or their areas, they were the only ones who got 30, 40 scholarship offers. When you go to Ohio State, that's most of the guys in there.
Do you realize you're the lone non-5-star starter on the defensive line?
I have been made aware of that I am the one bringing our stars down. I read in an article that it was like we have 19 stars out of the 4 of us, and I'm the 4-star, so it's whatever. No, no problem. I've never been really too concerned with notoriety, so you can be a 4-star and still produce.
Are you worried that maybe Tommy Shutt will move in front of you so they can give him a perfect 20?
Just to make it look better? You never know. I'm worried that Tommy Shutt might move in front of me because he's a great athlete. Yeah.
Talk more about him. Because he's had health issues. I mean, it's just a matter of maturity and health for him.
Yeah, Tommy's a different kind of athlete. He's a 300-pounder who can move really quick. He's the kind of nose guard you expect to see in the NFL. He's really strong. He's smart, and he's got a nasty attitude. So he was plagued by injuries last year too. A lot of lower body stuff. But it's so exciting to watch him get better and watch him push me for a spot. Like all spring, he'd come off the field and the 3rd-string guy would go in, and me and him would be talking about what did I do wrong, what do we need to fix. He would be giving me pointers, I'd be giving him pointers. And to have someone like that you can hash it out and we can watch each other and make each other better and then push each other, because he wants my spot and I want my spot. So I think that's such a undervalued thing to have, especially as a senior who's gotten the accolades that I have so far. To still feel pressure from a guy coming up behind me I think it's hard to beat. That's a very good thing.
Do you think you guys are like 10 deep in the defensive line? How deep do you think you are?
After spring ball, you would think we're probably 10 deep, but getting into the season, people react differently to pressure, so you never know who's going to actually come out to perform each Saturday. So we'll find out how many people deep we are. But we've got guys that can play football. We've got guys that can perform and some talented athletes. So I can't wait to see who actually is going to come to play.
You started out as a defensive end, played guard in high school. Did you miss any of that?
Playing O-line? No. I always think I could do pretty well on the O-line, but I also don't think I could get big enough to play O-line, like in the NFL. That's why I played defensive line. But I think it's sometimes fun to see what they do, and their job's a lot easier. You just look at the D lineman and don't have to worry about the ball or anything.
Did you tell them that? Your job is so easy?
No, because I try to make it pretty hard for them.
Coach Meyer created some noise yesterday when he said you only have one rival. How do you respond to that? And is that kind of ingrained in you the second you get in the door?
Yeah. Like they start trying to build up a strong dislike for that team up north the second you step foot, and you never really understand it until you go through the first game. I remember my freshman year, I was like, well, they're just another team. I'll try to hate them, blah, blah, blah. Step foot in their stadium and understood it. So you just have to go through it and experience it. But I know he's probably referencing everyone's questions about Michigan State.
Yeah.
And Michigan State every year is going to be a hard game and a good team to play against, but they're never going to be the rivalry that we have with that team up north.
Why is that?
Because we haven't been rivals with them for 100 years. And because I think the team up north being the last game of the season is so crucial to the rivalry. Because if we go 11-0 and they go 0-11 and then they beat us, our seasons are pretty much the same. Who cares? We're not going anywhere. So that's the beauty of the rivalry, is you can ruin each other's season in one game no matter what you guys have done earlier. And Michigan State is always going to be a great game, but if you play them earlier in the season and then lose and then keep winning, decidedly people can still be like, well, they just had a fluke that game. But if you lose at the end of the season, your road is done.
You don't think that rivalry's lost at all because it's been so one-sided?
No, because it's been one-sided before, and then it comes roaring back. I think they're experiencing some down years, but even last year we're supposed to be we were 23-0, and they had lost like 3 or something games in a row, and they almost beat us. So you never know, regardless of the record, these have all been close games. It's been a battle every single time.
Is it a different level of intensity when you're on the field with them as compared to any other game, would you say?
Yeah, guys get really caught up in the whole, because you get shown videos of all the bad blood between the team up north and Ohio State, and guys get really caught up in, I want to push this guy around, and maybe it'd be cool to get in a fight and not get on the video, but I hate him so much, let me show it, and all this stuff. And I think that's what makes the game so unpredictable, is guys will get distracted and guys will get sidetracked with just the sheer hatred of the other team. So I don't know, I think it's a different feeling, but you still need to learn how to control that and channel it, because that's when things start going wrong. No problem.
Part of you that envies the fact that Marcus Hall got the football job, Dante Wilson got to throw some punches. The game came out okay. Everybody's fine. Is there some part of you that envies that? I wish I could have done that. There are no consequences.
I don't think I'd want to throw any punches, because I don't want to get kicked out of the game. I think Marcus Hall thing was hilarious. I know I probably shouldn't be endorsing it because I might get in trouble, but I don't care. I thought it was hilarious. And that's one of those things that's going to live on forever, is that image of him walking out. And that was pretty ballsy. So I don't know I think he regrets it, but so I don't think I would have done it either. But at the same time, it's just one of those Ohio State team up north rivalries that sometimes you're just in the heat of the moment and just throw them up.
Did you grow up a Buckeye fan?
I grew up around a lot of Buckeye fans. I didn't necessarily grow up a Buckeye fan, but that was what was always, if I went to a friend's house for a football game, we're watching the Buckeyes. So I didn't know anything about the Buckeyes. I didn't follow them. I didn't have a Buckeye jersey.
The game until you got here.
I knew the rivalry. I knew the hatred. Kids would wear in middle school Team Up North sweatshirt and almost get beat up. So, and they did that stuff just for fun because they knew the whole school was Ohio State fans. But I just didn't have any allegiance to it. I had no reason to. So.
Is it weird to think about how Michigan State or Penn State that you're this kind of team that everybody there hates compared to even though Michigan the team you guys hate?
So you're saying like at Penn State and Michigan State they hate us? Yeah. I feel like everyone in the Big Ten hates us. And that's just, I almost think that's an honor because that means we're doing something right. We're beating them enough times that we're a problem for them. But yeah, at Ohio State, you got to realize that every time we go play someone, we're going to get their absolute best game. And that's why Ohio State sometimes trips up on teams that you'd be like, well, why are they having trouble on this team? Because that team's playing out of their mind this game, and we didn't, and we took them for granted. So that's really important that you have maturity on our team because we can't just overlook a team because they're going to come and they're going to bring everything they've got.